What's up, G-Pac TV? How are you guys doing on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon? This is definitely the happy hours. Y'all know how we get on. I hope you've did your work for the day and you done got your favorite drink. You done sit down and relax. And now I have a quick video. Because it just has to be pointed out that, first of all, the House has officially passed the $1.9 trillion package. And there's a lot of good things in there. The child credits and, a lot of money going towards, people, American people, as far as schools, getting kids back into schools and money for states. So those workers, those police officers, those firefighters, those garbage workers can get back to work. Okay. But the $15 an hour prospect was a very important prospect. That could have been the most important thing that Joe Biden and the Democrats could have done since God knows when. They're saying that this bill is the biggest bill ever since this, that, and the third. All right. But a $15 minimum wage lifts tens of millions of people out of poverty permanently. See, this package that they're passing now, it's going to have a good effect into the, to a certain amount. But a $15 a minimum raise is for the future. This will have an effect on American families all the way into the future. But it is not going to be in there. And let's understand this. There is no other pathway to it. You got the Joe Manchins and the Joe Bidens of the world. I want to stick to the parliamentary and the filibuster and Joe Biden is an old fool, dumbass fool. You're the president, and now, first of all, you allow Joe Manchin, instead of bringing it Joe Manchin and setting the temple from the very beginning of your presidency, that I'm not going to allow Joe Manchin to be the president. But I guess you don't have a spine. He's an old, decrepit fool. He doesn't even realize that Joe Manchin is the president now. You're the president of the United States, but we're talking about a Manchin rule. If you're going to pass anything, you got to make sure it passed the Manchin rule. I thought Joe Biden was the president. What is such a weak piece of... That's a Democrat for you. And I can't stand the Republicans either. But at least the Republicans will even fight for a despicable lie. They'll go down in the dirt for a despicable lie. The Democrats won't even fight for the truth, for the facts. Even when you got the majority of the American people on your side, you won't even fight for that. You could have handed the Democrats power for a long, long time with that $15 minimum wage, because that is going to have an effect for the long term. And it's always going to be known that the Democrats, when they were in control, they gave you a raise. These stupid idiots can't even know how to do politics. Do you think if the Republicans thought that it was on their behalf to do that and it'd keep them in power forever, they would do it in a second. They would have done it in a second. And they would have ran on it for the next decade or more. But these Democrats don't even know how to preserve their own power. What a bunch of feckless bums. But today, the progressives had a chance. If they did want to, they could have stopped the bill and said, hey, we want the $15 minimum wage. Just like Joe Biden stopped it. Just like Joe Manchin, stopped the bill, and Sinema and all of those folks stopped the bill. We're stopping it too. People may say, oh, well, people been waiting already. Even if it delayed it for a couple more days, even if you delayed it for a couple more days and still voted for it anyways, you should have put some type of pressure on them for the $15 minimum wage that you say is vital to the American workers. But you won't fight for it, though. All right, listen to this video. I just want you to listen for a second what she actually thinks, but I don't understand. This is what you think, but you won't fight for it? So what do you expect people to believe now after this point? What game are you going to run now after this point about the $15 minimum wage? All right, listen.
Fellow House Democrat Ro Khanna is saying Democrats should just override the parliamentarian. Your fellow squad member, Ilhan Omar, is saying fire the parliamentarian, as the Republicans did in 2001 to get their tax cuts through. Do you agree with either of them? And if not,
this is before the bill passed.
To get that $15 minimum wage passed.
I do believe that we should override the parliamentarian. I think that this is a matter of course, and that our constituents and people across this country put Democrats in power to, among many other things, establish a $15 minimum wage. We have a responsibility to do that.
We put you in power to do that.
The parliamentarians' ruling should be really an obstacle to that, and I don't believe that we should be really tied up about this, because our two options are realistically this: override the parliamentarian or eliminate the filibuster. Those are the only two paths that we have in order to actually create substantive change.
I could have stood up and get 6 progressives with me to stand up and say we're not going to vote for it until you put it in there. Hold on. Let's stop that for a second. Let's be clear. She forgot the third option. The third option is she could have got 6 of her colleagues, which they have 6 progressive, 6 Justice Democrats, right? To say we're not going to vote for that package unless you got $15 a minimum wage in there. When the Senate sent it back to the House, they could have done that. They didn't. She left it out. She left the third option. She could have even this is even before, but she knew what the third option is. The third option is if it comes back to the House without the $15 minimum wage, we will not vote for it. Did that happen? I believe at this point on March 10th, that bill has passed through the House with no objection, no fight from the progressives. So tell me, what do you say now? All right, let me tell you what she's saying. What she was saying then.
And not allowing these procedural obstacles, which can be overridden, to get in our way.
How about your vote?
One of the big blocks, though,
how about your vote?
Parliamentarian, or getting rid of the filibuster and getting the $15 through, are Democratic Senators Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin, who says $11 is enough for his state of West Virginia. Manchin has attacked you and the squad in the past, denouncing what he calls your crazy socialist agenda. And yet a majority of West Virginians, according to a poll conducted on behalf of groups that support the wage hike, support you on the minimum wage and not him. So what's your message to Joe Manchin tonight?
Listen, I think that if not just Senator Manchin, but any person who thinks that a $15 minimum wage is the crazy socialist agenda is living in a dystopian capitalist nightmare. And we should not prop that up. We should not continue that. People are sleeping in their cars. They can't afford baby formula. There are basic goods that people...
There you go. Right? She said that. People are sleeping in their cars. But if it came to me not voting for this bill to get you more money in your paycheck, I am not going to stop you. I am not going to fight for you to get more money so you can stop sleeping in your car, though. Right? Am I missed on this? Where did I go wrong on this? But I'm not going to fight for you so you can afford baby formula. Right? No, of course not. So what are we expecting from them from this point going on? What do they want us to believe at this point? I'm just asking a question. Let's have a conversation. Like, don't like, share. Let's have a conversation. Comment. Tell me, am I wrong to think that the progressive should have fought? If you're not going to fight now, then when?